All right, so I just wanted to bitch and moan and complain a little bit. Um, a little bit of background. I have a SaaS I've been working on for a while. I'm at 8 customers. I didn't launch too long ago, and it's working. And what I'm really working on right now is like I want to build out new features and start going to market harder, like running some ads, doing some more acquisition stuff. But I'm starting to run into infrastructure issues already. So I want to show you what happened last night. So if we go last 24 hours. Um, and if we look at Vercel functions, actually, over the last 30 days, we've gotten 8.2 million invocations of my webhook receiver. So it works pretty good. We basically catch webhooks from high level and we handle them, save them to the database, take actions, whatever needs to happen. But last night, this happened. So I got, over the span of about half an hour, I got 600,000 events. And I also have some retries in place. So this, I literally had just fucking added this. So for our webhook receiver, we have, all right, where is it? So this is published to QStash. So we take the event and then we handle it with a timeout. So we have a 10-second timeout on the event. We try to handle it. And if it throws an error, then we will log it out. We will try to publish that to QStash. So QStash is by Upstash, and it's basically like queue. So I'll send it off to QStash, like, hey, try this back in a few minutes, because we're probably hitting a rate limit or something. And that was working great. If anything failed because of a random like API timeout, it would just retry a few minutes later and it would work. But last night, it fucking made like a million, because I'm making 10 attempts. Sometimes QStash just times out. Their API is kind of fucking slow. It's like 400 milliseconds. I think the P95 duration is like 800 milliseconds, which is pretty fucking long. I should make this like, I don't know, 5 attempts or something, because what was happening was it would try to basically catch the event, and then the database was getting overwhelmed because you can only have so many connections, especially on like a database with a limited amount of compute. It needs to be able to like kind of consolidate every single change that's happening at the same time and making sure you're not hitting any deadlocks. And so, yeah, it hit the connection limit for the database, which meant every task failed because every task requires either reading or writing to the database. And that made it so that every task failed, and then we would try to hit Upstash to get it retried later, but we were hitting the Upstash rate limit, and even when they did retry, we were still getting hammered with events, and so the database was still maxed out, and everything just fucking hit the fan, dude. It was a total failure. I ended up upgrading my Neon database. Wait, actually, we can show you. So this is on my database, and if we go the last day, this is when it happened. So in compute, damn, that's really annoying. But yeah, so basically, I had to upsize my compute. So we went up to basically the max, and then I upgraded my compute, and we were still at the very max of what it could handle. And then I just started like blocking the one account that was sending a bunch of notifications, and that finally fixed it. But I had to scale up my database a shit ton. We went up to 8 vCPU and 32 gigabytes of RAM with a minimum of 16 gigs of RAM, which means compute's going to be way more expensive. But now we can handle 3,600 connections. But you can see, like, even when I made that change, it was still maxed out, and it was still like broken a shit ton. And so, dude, this is why I use Neon and Vercel and Trigger.dev, is because I don't want to deal with this. I just want to build features. Who cares if I'm not that profitable? I just want to build features. I can think about that shit later. But yeah, dude, I'm already at the point. 8 fucking customers. Basically no revenue. I'm at the point where I need to be fucking just like thinking about this shit, which sucks. I think what I'm gonna have to do is implement some sort of a rate limit, so that per like tenant, if we start getting one tenant dumping events, we can just rate limit it and push it to a queue or something like that. I think that should help, in the short term with like burst events. Just kind of ignore them and just let it die down. But then, how do I make sure I'm not hitting the rate limit for my fucking rate limiter? Because when we're getting thousands and thousands of events per second, I mean, like, yeah, dude, we were literally, I mean, it was fucking insane. Like, I think we can zoom in here, um, and zoom in some more. This was, yeah, so this was last night. Yeah. So if we zoom in on these 12 minutes, so we can see I mean, this is basically like every few seconds we're getting thousands of events. And it's like, dude, literally over 12 minutes, 137 edge function invocations. Also, I think I can zoom out here. Over this time, we used 1,300 gigabyte hours. If you're over the free plan, 1,300 times 18 cents per gigabyte hour, that would have cost $240 to handle that many events. I mean, there was issues because it was retrying events that still failed, and so you get kind of that thing, and then, yeah, and functions were running for longer. I mean, it was only 3 seconds, so that's actually not too long, but yeah, error rate was literally fucking 90%. I mean, everything was fucking failing. And, yeah, dude, like, thank God for Fluid Compute, because if we look at this. So we're using Fluid Compute. They released this, I don't know, a month or two ago, and we saved 89% of that because we were caching the whole fucking function because it was just the same thing. So instead of using 1,400 gigabyte hours, I think I used like 200, which is still in my free plan. It's fine. It doesn't cost anything extra. But if I go over this month by 200, then it's 18 cents times 200, so fucking $40 to handle this burst. And I need to have like good data sync. Like I need to keep the data from this outside CRM in sync with the data on my database. And I mean, if this happens, I just need to mark all of their data as out of sync because I know I can't catch this many events at once. And then that means we're going to be playing catch up later. I think really right now the solution is some kind of rate limiting just to make sure we're not handling a million events in like 2 hours, because clearly that causes way too many problems. I mean, you could see like, before this problem, we were literally running like let's see, if we go like 9 o'clock. So yeah, before that, dude, like every 10 minutes there was like a couple hundred events. They were all working. And then all of a sudden, boom, complete fucking failure. Yeah, so I think what should happen is when an event comes in, we basically here's our event. So when an event comes in, we'll try to, actually before we try to handle it, we'll go if rate limit dot true, or whatever. Then we'll go publish to queue, and then we'll probably publish the event to some kind of queue with an idempotency key or something, and then that way these events can pile up and we can kind of chew through them later without missing any events. That would work. I don't know what to use for that. I mean, I think Upstash probably has a product that can help with this, but yeah, dude, like, who knew? I mean, I don't even know how I would deal with it if it was a bigger product. Like, Notion and Netflix and all these big companies have insane setups where they have, thousands of workers and shit. Like, I might have to go to fly.io so I can create a queue on Upstash and then use fly.io to just rip through that queue as it's sitting there. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm just like, again, I just want to build features. I just want to build and ship features and talk to customers and solve problems. But I have a long queue of problems that I need to solve, including this one, which is kind of, I'm just like, dude, scaling a SaaS is supposed to be easy. The hard part is marketing, right? Apparently not, dude. Apparently, fucking getting your infrastructure to not fucking fall to pieces is the hard part. So yeah, dude. I mean, it just sucks because like the whole point of paying extra for Vercel and paying extra for Neon and Trigger is that I don't have to deal with this. But you know, the other thing about Trigger is it's great, but dude, Vercel is phenomenal. It didn't skip a fucking beat. Like it handled, in this 5 minute period, it handled 50, 60,000 events. Vercel fucking rocks, dude. Like it just worked. Nothing else, everything else just fell to shit, complete shit. Like, and I can't pass these events over to Trigger because that's going to cost me billions of dollars to handle all these events over Trigger. Not to mention, I'm going to hit my concurrency limit in about 10 seconds because I can have 100 concurrent tasks and I have basically like 20 running at any given moment. And so if I have 20 concurrent tasks and like this would queue up so many more than that. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, how do I handle these burst events? I think I can just put something in place right now to just like prevent this from happening again because this affected all my customers, even though it was one customer that kind of caused it. So if I can just prevent that from happening, prevent this whole like error cascade thing, then I could just kind of leave it for a while, have some sort of like half-baked kind of solution, and then eventually implement a proper queuing system. But I don't know, it doesn't really matter right now. Like I need to really focus on, getting the right features and getting to market. Like reliability is important, obviously, but it's pretty reliable apart from shit like this. So yeah. Anyways, dude, that's the recap. I've been working so fucking hard. I haven't been sleeping barely at all because I stay up late and then I wake up early and I'm just sleep deprived. I'm like, this is insanity. But you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying, dude? You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, yeah. Hopefully you guys don't have this type of problem. If you're building a SaaS, build like a fucking to-do app or something. But dude, I don't know. I feel like if I look at some of my competitors, like my kind of Halo competitor, I guess is like attention.com. They're huge. They do 1 million ARR. They're probably handling millions of events per day. They scaled. I should be able to scale. I don't know if they're using Neon. Like for Neon, I upgraded to this scale plan last night. So we were at 10 gigabyte storage. Now we can have 50, up to 750 compute hours, and up to 8 compute units or whatever. So that's what I did. I scaled it up to 8 compute units to handle more connections, but that still wasn't enough. And then on the $700 plan, we could have 56 compute units. But like, I don't know. I don't actually know how many connections Neon connection limits. I was doing this like so much. I was looking at this shit. They have, oh, for God's sake. They have, okay, connection pooling. For some reason, it says you can have up to 10,000 connections, but I was only getting 3,000. I'm using the pooler. I don't know if that just wasn't working, but here we go. Their max compute size, 4,000 connections. I mean, it tops out at 4,000 connections. Sure, you can have read replicas, and I created a read replica, but a read replica is not really going to help. It's not about reading. It's about writing for basically all these events. So I need a write replica. I need like a database that fucking scales and can shard. Because that was the problem, was the database. If I could shard the database, but I don't think Neon does. Like, I think sharding's a really really hard problem to solve. Yeah, so I'll look into this. But I was also looking at Terso. I just want like something that can. I don't want to switch databases. It's a huge pain in the ass. but like Terso really would not work because, I mean, they have um, they have a lot of databases you can create, which is great, but I only have one database. Total storage, 24 gigabytes. I mean, that's not enough. And their pro plan is 50 gigs, but it's $400 a month. Like, these prices scale really fucking hard, really fast. But yeah, so they have a free tier, and then Sharded. Someone recommended Cockroach DB, but like I think it's more of a Postgres thing. Like I think Postgres can only process so many events. So how does a company like Notion having millions of users write on documents simultaneously, how do they handle that? Do they push every update to a queue that writes or something and store the changes in local? Like I don't really know. Scale to meet demand. Oh yeah, and I looked at fucking Cockroach, but they don't actually give their pricing. They say 2 vCPUs, and then it goes up to like 3 terabytes, I think that is, and yeah, like they don't really tell you how much it costs or like how much connections you can get. It seems really corporate-y. I don't really like that. I like the Neon approach more of their, but yeah, yeah, dude. I mean, I gotta figure out how to solve this. Reliability is the most important thing for the system, and then features, and it's just a lot. So, anyways, that's what I've been working. I haven't been making videos because I haven't had much to share apart from my hair's on fire. But all right, that's the end of the video. I've rambled long enough. Thanks for watching.